Hi trackies, welcome back to another video. Please remember to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. That's how the video gets to the YouTube algorithm. Share the video if you care. I hope you all care, so share and sound off in the comment section below. All right, so trackies, the woman. Let's dive into what is going to be going down at the USA Track and Field Championships beginning July 31st through to August the 3rd. I'm excited to see exactly what is going to go down in the women's sprints. And I'm particularly excited about one of those events, right? And I'll tell you about it some more when we dive into that event. But I'm going to start with the women's 100 meters. Now, forgive me, I haven't checked the women's, start list, so I'm unsure of who is entered, and by who is entered, meaning whether or not Shakira Richardson is entered, because she's a defending champion. She doesn't have to be there, but in my opinion, I need her to be there because she needs the races to get sharp. So, suck it up and run the races as far as I'm concerned. So I'm hoping that she's actually registered, for the 100 meters. But yeah, let's dive into these women for 2025. Now, Melissa Jefferson, okay, I'm just going to say this straight off the bat. I don't think it will be close. I think she will dismantle, this championship. She wins going away by a mile, right? Now, if this was another year or if Shakira Richardson had showed me, the kind of form that I was hoping to see from her, 2025, then I may have thought, different. Otherwise, from a competitive perspective, that the competition would be closer. I don't think so. I remember a lot of people were thinking that going into Eugene, the Prefontaine Classic, right? That somehow, that race was going to involve Shakira Richardson. And I was like, are you all slow? Right? No, when I say these things, people think I have, a thing against Shakira Richardson. No, this is nothing personal, guys. I'm talking about what we are looking at happening on the track and who is performing, who hasn't been. And, sometimes us being unrealistic, expecting athletes that, haven't shown the shape to just randomly turn up and just walk everybody, especially athletes that have been running 10-7. Not going to happen, right? So it's been a few weeks since then, clearly, right? So I'm expecting Shakira to be in better shape, but I'm actually expecting Melissa Jefferson to be in 10-6 shape, to be honest. And, if we're better to run 10-6 than, actually the Eugene track, right? Prefontaine. Well, not Prefontaine, sorry. I mean, Eugene, right? So we're better to, clock such a phenomenal time. So I'm expecting her to win hands down. I'm expecting to see, a world leading performance from her. She is still the world leader, 10.73 seconds, but I'm expecting her to better that. I'm expecting her to lay down the gauntlet here to kind of unrattle the world. Let's put it that way, and say, come get me, right? And she's proven so far that, especially against Julian Alfred, really, really tough race between them both. And yeah, she came out with the win. I wasn't expecting her to win. She won, right? And yeah, it's gonna be crazy by the time we get to World Championships. I expect Julian Alfred to turn things up a notch, clearly by the time she gets there. But I think this is her, time. By her time, I mean Melissa Jefferson's time at these trials to stomp her authority, show that she's yes the dominant American athlete in 2025, and I think that's what we're gonna see here. I expect her to win hands down. When we talk about the other spots, so America gets 4, as I said. Shakira Richardson is the defending champion. I'm hoping that she competes here. Haven't checked the start list yet, so it is what it is, right? But I'm expecting her hopefully to turn up here. But let's see what the other athletes have. So we have in the lineup Tonisha Terry, Jasia Shears, 1085, Jamisha Ford, 1087, Aaliyah Hobbs, 1089, Alexis Browns, 1093. So when I think about these performances, track is, not anything really stand out. You may say Tonisha Terry is 1085, but, again, when I look at, where some of these times where I run track is, I go, interesting. You know what I mean? So if I'm supposed to, go for, some athletes, I'm actually going to go a bit more down, on the list. And I'm actually going to look, for athletes like a Mackenzie Long. She's run 1098 so far this season. Keeping my eye on her, right? For sure when it comes to this 100 meters. Another athlete that I never take my eyes off as well. 1103 so far this season. Tamari Davis, right? She's an athlete that turns up at these competitions and she's ready to compete and compete strongly. And though she hasn't gone as fast as some of the athletes so far, my expectation is to see these athletes turn up and run well. So outside of, those two that I mentioned, right? As I said, Tamari Davis, Mackenzie Long, Anavia Battle, has been having a good year as well. I'm looking, to see what she does. I'm looking out for, Aaliyah Hobbs as well. Let's see what she has. And I'm also looking to see what Jacia Shears has, right? Jamisha Ford. I'm not sure, if I'm putting her in that rank yet, though she's capable, right? Again, 10.87 so far this season. My concern again is rounds, right? These collegiates are workhorses, sometimes, and they can manage the rounds. But I still think, this level of competition is different from NCAA's, and the expectation to come in round by round and run, a certain time, right, and be able to consistently do that round by round, I think affect a few of these collegiates. So even though she's well capable, I'm not thinking that she, will be in the conversation here. But let us see. Let's see exactly what happens. I'm interested in this 100 meters, but honestly, track is, I'm not telling no lie. Outside of Melissa Jefferson and, Shakira Richards to come in to get her races in, right? The actual final two spots for the team, I think, is very, very open. Very, very open, right? And it's going to be the hungrier athlete that gets it. But I'm really, really keeping my eye on Tamari Davis. I think she's one of those athletes that really, shine. And, Mackenzie Long, even Canberra Sturgis. I forgot about her. But keeping my eye on Canberra Sturgis as well to see what goes on in this women's 100 meters. But yeah, I'm excited for that event. Absolutely. Now, let's jump over into the women's 200 meters. We have Mackenzie Long, 21.93, Gabby Thomas, 21.95, Jamisha Ford, 21.98, right? Melissa Jefferson Wooden, 21.99, Tamari Davis, 22.05. Okay. We have Brittany Brown, 22.17. This 2025 200 meters is going to be spicy, especially spicy, I think. Even more spicy than we saw, I think, in 2024 with this team, right? Aneva Battle is also there. I don't think this is, Brittany Brown's strongest year. Though she has that 22.17, I'm not think she hasn't been wowing me, I guess, so far. Well, she never really wows me anyway, but I'm just saying I haven't gotten that vibe from her. That being said, track is, I'm looking at a handful of people, including, best believe it, and I'm scrolling down because I called her name already, Tamari Davis. Okay, so I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is 5. Am I adding Jamisha Ford? Okay. Let me kind of subtract Jamisha Ford, right? Though she has the time, I'm just, maybe I'm underestimating her. She's probably just going to have to prove me wrong, right? But this is for the hard way. This is for the hard way. 4 can't go into 3. We're taking 3 to the world champion. Well, not we, USA. USA is taking 3 to the world championships. Mackenzie Long, Gabby Thomas, Melissa Jefferson Wooden, Tamari Davis. I think that's for the hard way, right? Who am I choosing if I should pick 3? Tamari Davis always turns up, But Mackenzie Long is on one this season as well. And you can't count out Gabby Thomas. And Melissa Jefferson has practically been steamrolling everybody, every competition she's been in. Okay. If we should go from previous history, previous years, we may say Gabby Thomas takes the win, right? And then we may say Melissa Jefferson comes in second. Yeah. And then we may say third is up between Mackenzie Long and Tamari Davis. It's going to be close. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say, right? I don't want to, count out Gabby Thomas. She hasn't wowed me outside of the 400 meters this season, you know what I mean, in the sprint. So let's see what she does here at the USA Championships. But I'm going to give, sometimes when athletes they put the work in, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. So I'm giving Gabby the benefit of the doubt. Though I haven't really seen anything, spectacular. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt to turn up here and run well. You know what I mean? Melissa Jefferson has been on one, looked fantastic all season. I'm expecting her to make this 200-meter team. Right. Mackenzie Long has also been having a fantastic year, but I'm putting her behind, though she's the fastest American, 21.93. I'm putting her behind Melissa Jefferson, fighting out there with Tamari Davis, for that third spot. And let's see who gets it. It's going to be really, really interesting. Really, really one of the closely contested events, I believe, here. And yeah, I think this is one of the events that may take, the championships. And again, I look for, events that are more competitive, to as it relates to my factor, what thrills me, not necessarily, dominant wins. I want to see people fighting tooth and nail to get in. You know what I mean? So the 200 meters is going to be spicy for 2025. Let's see how that goes. 400 meters. This one, a lot of, well, let me not say a lot of. One collegiate has been killing it for Team USA. Then we have a former collegiate that, switched earlier on this year. I believe right after indoors, Isabella Whitaker, went pro, right? So we have Sydney McLaughlin, Leveroni, the 400-meter hurdles world record holder, entering the 400 meters, throwing, a whole wrench, into that event. So this women's 400 meters is going to be good as well, right? I think though it's probably gonna be a bit straightforward in terms of who takes the spots, right? So if we're going off, personal bests and expectations, I think Sydney probably takes this 400 meters. But based on how Alia Butler has been giving everybody the work that she's been competing against all season, I actually think that Alia Butler is gonna be right up there, fighting tooth and nail, with Sydney McLaughlin, Leveroni to try to get the win. Unless Sydney comes out and runs, 48 low. If she comes out and runs 48 low, then it won't be close. But if the time is like a 48 high, then Alia Butler I think is gonna be there. Isabella Whitaker is the athlete that I'm gonna say takes third in this event, which means that the other athletes unfortunately get left out. Let's see how this goes for the women's 400 meters. They don't have the defending champion, and again the Diamond League is yet to be completed, so we're not sure who's going to be getting buys there. But yeah, as things stand right now, America only has 3 in the women's 400 meters. Okay, the event that I'm most excited about, the women's 100-meter hurdles. This one I'm always most excited about, outside of the 100 meters when we're competing internationally, right? I'm always really, really excited about the women's 100-meter hurdles because it's always jam-packed. Always we're getting high quality competition and performances. And I think USA has one of the strongest crop. The depth that they have in this women's 100-meter hurdles is crazy. So I'm expecting that this race is going to be absolutely thrilling. But here what track is, surprisingly, it may not go how we may initially thought it would have went, probably earlier on in the season, because we had Masai Russell running an American record, 12.17 seconds. Tia Jones, right behind her with a new PB, also below, that previous American record, 12.19 seconds, right? All clocking in as second and third fastest athletes ever, in the event. And then we have a Grace Stark, that came in, or that has clocked so far at 12.21 seconds. Really the most consistent athlete, I would say, all year for Team USA. Problem is, Masai Russell, the Olympic champion, picked up some kind of injury, setback. She said she tweaked her ankle, right? But, she's back down to running 12 mids, right? So the concern is the Olympic champion going to be ready for this level of competition? This is the hurdles. This is hit or miss. And if you're not on game, you may miss it, right? So it's crazy. I never thought that the Olympic champion, could potentially miss out on the women's 100-meter hurdles team to make it to the world championships. But let's see. I think, given, the time that has passed, she can probably get back into 12-3 shape, right? Is 12-3 shape, enough? Let's see, right? But, it's going to be interesting for sure when it comes to Masai Russell. Tia Jones clearly hasn't shown that, same 12.19, second shape that she showed, when they ran at the Ansin Sports Complex in Miramar. No, I already told y'all my thoughts about this track, so y'all shouldn't be surprised that, some of the athletes haven't been able to, mirror these performances, throughout the season, right? I think that kind of pushes her down the totem pole a bit. Grace Stark, I think, goes in as favorite in the women's 100-meter hurdles. But strangely enough, was it her last race? Was it the race against Megan Tapper? Yeah. Her last Diamond League outing, I think that's the last time she competed. She was down the pack, surprisingly. And I was like, okay, Grace, it's not the time to be having shaky performances, especially after the dominant season that we've been having. No, it could clearly just be a one off race, but I would have rather, in my mind, and this is just me from a personal perspective, athletes have these kind of shaky performances earlier on in the year, and then by the time we are getting closer to when it matters, they start to look solid. Then they look solid all season, and then start to fall apart when the time matters, right? So I'm a little concerned, but I still have her as the favorite heading in, right? So let's see if Grace Stark will be able to deliver on that potential. Alicia Johnson has had a topsy-turvy season. We all know the drama between herself and Fred Curley, but somehow she has managed to keep it together and still be running consistent enough, right? So I think she also features, in this women's 100-meter hurdles. So far, she's run at 12.32 seconds, right? Then I also, I'm keeping my eye on, the former American record holder, plus also former world record holder Kenny Harrison. Keeping my eye on Aaliyah Armstrong as well. She's been looking really good this season. Also, never take your eye off Antonia Marshall. She's also someone that runs really strong. So I think for the most part, let me scroll down this list a bit to see if I'm missing anybody. I think for the most part, those are the athletes that I'm keeping my eye on for this women's 100-meter hurdle. So Masai, Tia, Grace, Alicia Johnson, Kenny Harrison, and Aaliyah Armstrong and Antonia Marshall. So that's 7. All right, so I'm keeping my eye on those 7 athletes. I think 3, will come out of those 7. Who are the athletes that are more likely to get it? I'm thinking Grace Stark. I'm thinking Alicia Johnson, Tia Jones, Masai. Those are my strongest 4. I'm going to go with those as my strongest 4. And they're, the fastest athletes this season, but also the most consistent, right? Based on performances. Masai, though, I can't even, say based on credence, coming into 2025, given the fact that she's the Olympic champion, that she's a go, given the fact that she has that injury setback. So I don't know how this is going to go for Masai Russell, to be fair, but I'm wishing her all the best. Let's see, because I want the best to be at the World Championships, right? I love the women's 100-meter hurdles. I love how they always turn up and compete strongly. But hey, sometimes, when you have that setback, it's the opportunity for somebody else to come in and snatch a position. So let's see. And the women in the 100-meter hurdles are ever hungry, ever ready to, to swoop in and take something. You know what I mean? So let's see how that goes. But those are my thoughts for the women's 100 meters. Trackies, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How are you looking at things? Like the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.